Tonight, you go to bed just like you always do. You brush your teeth, check your phone one last time, turn off the lights, and within minutes you're asleep. Nothing feels unusual. Then at exactly 3:17 in the morning, your eyes suddenly open. Not because of a loud noise, not because of a nightmare. You simply wake up. At first, you don't think much of it. Everyone has restless nights. Maybe you had too much coffee. Maybe you're stressed. You roll over, close your eyes, and wait for sleep to come back. It never does. 5 minutes pass, then 10, then 30. By 4 o'clock, you're still lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. The strange part isn't that you can't fall asleep. It's that you don't even want to. The feeling of being tired has completely disappeared. Eventually, the sun begins to rise. Birds start singing outside, cars fill the streets, and the rest of the world slowly wakes up. But for you, the night never really ended. Strangely, you don't feel exhausted. You don't have heavy eyelids. You don't yawn. Your head doesn't hurt. In fact, you feel incredible. You make breakfast, answer a few emails, and even go for a run before most people have left their beds. Everything feels effortless. You assume the exhaustion will hit you later. It never does. By the time evening arrives, you've had one of the most productive days of your life. You've finished work, cleaned the house, started reading a new book, and still have energy to spare. Midnight comes around again, but your body never asks for sleep. The next day, the exact same thing happens. Then the day after that. 3 full days pass without a single minute of sleep. If this happened to anyone else, they'd already be struggling to think clearly. After just 24 hours without sleep, reaction times begin to slow. Memory gets worse. Concentration starts falling apart. After 3 days, some people even begin hallucinating. But none of that happens to you. Your memory feels sharper than ever. You think faster. You solve problems more easily. It's almost as if someone secretly upgraded your brain overnight. At first, it feels like you've won the lottery. The average person spends nearly 1/3 of their entire life asleep. If you never had to sleep again, you would suddenly gain thousands of extra hours every single year. While everyone else is unconscious, you're still learning, working, exercising, and getting ahead. Friends start asking questions. How do you always have so much energy? When do you actually sleep? At first, you laugh it off, but after a few weeks, even your family realizes they've never seen you tired. Your smartwatch reports 0 hours of sleep every single night, yet somehow every medical test comes back perfectly normal. Doctors are fascinated. They check your heart, your hormones, your brain activity. Everything looks exactly as it should. There's only one impossible difference. Your brain has completely stopped asking for sleep. For the first time in human history, it looks like someone has escaped one of biology's oldest rules. But evolution almost never gives you something for free. And over the next few weeks, you begin noticing something far stranger than never feeling tired. Your memories are starting to change. At first, you barely notice it. One afternoon, you're scrolling through old photos on your phone. When you stop at a picture from your 10th birthday, you remember everything about that day. The room, the cake, the presents, even the smell of the candles. Every detail is still there, exactly as you remember it. But something feels different. This was one of the happiest days of your childhood, yet looking at the photo now feels strangely empty. It's like remembering a fact instead of reliving a memory. You can remember what happened perfectly, but the emotion that once came with it is simply gone. You brush it off and tell yourself that's just what getting older feels like. Maybe everyone slowly loses that emotional connection to childhood. Maybe you're overthinking it. Then it happens again. You're driving home when your favorite song starts playing. Normally, within seconds, it would take you back to a specific moment in your life. Maybe your first relationship, maybe a road trip with your friends, maybe the best summer you've ever had. But this time, nothing happens. You recognize every lyric, every beat, every word. You know exactly why this song used to mean so much to you. You just can't feel it anymore. Over the next few days, the feeling spreads into every part of your life. Your mother hugs you goodbye. You hug her back. You love her more than anything. But something feels delayed. It's as if your brain remembers the relationship but struggles to recreate the emotion behind it. Even your favorite movie starts feeling different. You still understand every joke. You still recognize every emotional scene. You know exactly when you're supposed to laugh and exactly when you're supposed to cry. But your body never reacts. It's like watching your own life through a sheet of glass. At the same time, something else begins to happen. Your memory becomes almost frightening. You start remembering things nobody else does. A conversation from 3 weeks ago. The exact shirt someone wore last Tuesday. A random license plate you passed on your way to work. The page number of a sentence you read months ago. Every single detail sticks. Nothing fades anymore. At first it feels incredible. You never forget a birthday. You never lose your keys. You never need to write anything down. Learning becomes almost effortless. Languages that once took years now take months. Books you've never seen before become impossible to forget. Within weeks, you're solving problems that entire teams of experts struggle to understand. People begin calling you a genius. Scientists call you something else. Impossible. News spreads around the world. The first human who never sleeps. Hospitals invite you to participate in studies. Universities offer millions of dollars just to scan your brain. For neuroscientists, you're the most important person alive because if your brain truly works without sleep, then everything we know about human biology is wrong. One research team decides to monitor your brain around the clock. Every heartbeat, every brainwave, and every tiny electrical signal is recorded for weeks. At first, the results make no sense. Your heart is normal. Your hormones are normal. Your metabolism is normal. Nothing explains why you no longer need sleep. Then one researcher notices something strange. Every healthy brain follows the same pattern. During the day, it absorbs an enormous amount of information. Every face you see, every sound you hear, every conversation you have, and every tiny detail is quietly stored away. Then, every night while you're asleep, your brain begins organizing all of it. It strengthens important memories, weakens unimportant ones, processes emotions, and clears away unnecessary connections. Sleep isn't just rest, it's maintenance. Imagine never cleaning your room. Every book stays where you dropped it. Every piece of paper remains on the floor. Every empty bottle, every forgotten object slowly piles up. At first, it's barely noticeable. Then it becomes difficult to move. Eventually, the room becomes unusable. Your brain works in almost the same way, except your brain never gets the chance to clean itself anymore because it never sleeps. The researchers zoom in even further, expecting to find signs of damage. Instead, they discover something nobody has ever seen before. Nothing inside your brain is ever being removed. Every embarrassing moment, every painful goodbye, every awkward conversation, every mistake you've ever made, every happy memory, every random fact, every useless detail, nothing has faded, nothing has been forgotten. Your brain has become a perfect recorder, and at first, that sounds like the greatest ability any human could ever have. Until the scientists realized why the human brain was never designed to remember everything. At first, nobody understands why the scientists suddenly become so worried. From the outside, your life looks better than ever. You remember everything you've ever learned, you solve problems faster than anyone around you, and every day you seem to become even more intelligent. Students would dream of a memory like yours. Scientists have spent decades trying to improve human memory. If anything, it looks like you've become the perfect version of a human being. Then one researcher says something that completely changes the conversation. What if forgetting isn't a flaw? The room falls silent, because everything we've ever believed about intelligence tells us that remembering more should make us smarter. But the human brain was never designed to remember everything. In fact, forgetting is one of the most important jobs your brain performs every single day. Think about meeting someone new. Your brain isn't just remembering their face. It's also recording the color of their shirt, the smell of the room, the music playing in the background, the weather outside, where you were standing, the tone of their voice, and thousands of tiny details you never consciously notice. If your brain kept every one of those details forever, finding an important memory would become almost impossible. Imagine trying to find one specific photo on a phone that contains billions of unsorted pictures. Eventually, everything becomes noise. That's why your brain forgets. Not because it's weak, because it's efficient. Every night, while you're asleep, your brain quietly decides which memories deserve to stay and which ones no longer matter. Important experiences become stronger. Useless information slowly fades away. Without that process, your brain slowly fills with details that should have disappeared years ago. And that's exactly what's happening to you. When the researchers compare your newest brain scans to the ones they took only a month earlier, they notice something no one has ever seen before. The number of neural connections inside your brain hasn't just increased, it has exploded. Normally, the brain constantly removes unnecessary connections through a process called synaptic pruning. It's one of the reasons children, whose brains haven't fully developed this ability yet, are easily overwhelmed by information. Your brain has stopped pruning itself completely. Every conversation creates new connections. Every face creates new connections. Every experience creates new connections. But none of the old ones are ever removed. For the first time in human history, your brain is only growing. It never cleans itself. It never reorganizes. It never lets go. At first, this makes you seem almost superhuman. You notice patterns nobody else can see. You solve impossible puzzles in minutes. You can read an entire book once and remember every sentence years later. Universities compete to study you. Governments offer unlimited funding to understand your brain. Some scientists even believe you've become the next step in human evolution. Then the headaches begin. They're barely noticeable at first, just a slight pressure behind your eyes every now and then. But over the following weeks, they become stronger. Crowded places suddenly feel unbearable. You walk into a supermarket and your brain refuses to ignore anything. Every conversation, every shopping cart, every flashing light, every crying child, every song playing through the speakers, every price tag, and every face all demand your attention at the exact same time. Most people never experience this because the brain automatically filters almost all of that information before you're even aware of it. Yours doesn't. It treats everything as equally important. For the first time since you stopped sleeping, your gift begins to feel like a curse. Soon, even making simple decisions becomes exhausting. Standing in front of a vending machine takes several minutes, not because you can't decide what you want, but because your brain instantly recalls every drink you've ever tasted. Every memory arrives at once. Every experience feels equally important. Your brain can no longer decide which information deserves your attention and which should be ignored. Researchers have seen similar symptoms before, but only in people suffering from rare neurological disorders where the brain loses its ability to filter unnecessary information. Those patients often describe the experience as mentally overwhelming, like listening to 100 conversations at the same time. Your version is even worse, because unlike them, you remember every single one. The moment that finally terrifies the scientists happens during what should have been an ordinary interview. One researcher casually asks, "What did you eat exactly 1 year ago today?" Without thinking, you answer immediately. You describe your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner. You remember the restaurant, the table you sat at, the conversation you had, the shirt the waiter was wearing, the song playing in the background, and even the exact total printed on the receipt. Every single detail is correct. Nobody in the room says a word, not because they're impressed, because they suddenly realize what your future looks like. Every mistake you make from now on will stay with you forever. Every embarrassing moment, every argument, every insult, every breakup, every funeral, every regret. Time will never soften any of it, because time only heals memories that the brain is allowed to reshape. Yours never will. For your entire life, every painful moment will remain just as vivid as the day it happened. And for the first time since your body stopped needing sleep, you quietly wish you could forget.